I'm really excited about this new opal pendant. I'm calling it Emma, and I've designed it specifically for new opal cutters in mind. If you've never made an opal pendant before, there are aspects to this that make it easier than any other pendant that you could do. All you really need is a template and an opal that's big enough to make it work.
Here are a few different examples of how this pendant can be set. It can be flat, which is the easiest way, or it can be domed. You can put doublets in here. You can get thinner stones in here and grind the metal down a little bit. I'll walk you now through exactly how to set one. Alright, so once you've selected your stone, the pendant wants a 15 mil stone, right? But I suggest you don't use a template to 15 mil. I suggest that you use the template to 16 mil, and then you cut it down so that it fits in there exactly. You want it to be a really nice snug fit. So banging you around there. Okay, use the mechanical pencil to draw your line. Alright, so now the first time around I cut it to 16. And notice that I'm cutting almost perpendicular. This is meant to be glued in rather than a bezel that's pushed over. So it's a really easy cut. You're essentially just cutting a cylinder to begin with. And at 16, you're a little bit big, so now you just go a little bit at a time until you make it fit in exactly. Also put a hole in the back of this one so that you can see the back of the stone, but two, so that you can push it out if it gets stuck in there and you're trying to get it perfect. Alright, so you just take your time and just do a little bit at a time, until your stone will actually fit in the setting. If you do it right, it'll be really tight and it'll get stuck, and that's why the hole's there, so that you can push it out whenever it's there. Now, the easiest way to use this setting is to put the face of the opal in until it bottoms out. All right, so it's all the way up against the back now. And you take your pencil, and this is like a zero dome situation here, right? So the easiest way to set this thing is to set it with no dome at all. You can make a dome on it, and it's probably going to make it look a bit nicer if you do. But this is just like day one, how to set an opal. So you put it in there. Now that that line is there, you want to cut down to that line, and then you flip it over, and your opal will sit perfectly flat inside that setting. Now you probably want to polish this face first before you do this, and that way you can make it sit exactly the way that you want. I'll cut almost to this line, and then I'll put it in there, and then I'll take a little bit more and I'll put it in until it's exactly the way that I like. You could leave that flat and not put a bevel on it, or you could put a bevel on this thing, just depending on how you want it to look. If I was going to raise it above the surface and have a little bit of a dome, you know, I'd put a little bevel on it. If not, then I would keep it as a sharp corner so that when it's set in there, it would meet the silver. All right, so now I've cut it down to size, and the finished size flat should be around 5 mil. I know, almost exactly 5 mil there. And probably should fit. Sometimes it takes a bit of playing around to get it in. If you cut it right, you have to put it in exactly right for it to fit. But once it does, it fits in really nicely. So I've got it just a bit proud there, which is fine. You want it a bit proud because the next step is to glue it into place with a bit of lapidary epoxy like the 330 that we carry in the shop, and then to polish the whole face at once flat.
You know, you guys are always asking me how to sell your opals. What's the best way to, make this a side hustle, make some cash at it? My number one advice is don't try to sell loose opals. That is a hard game. If you want to sell, your opals that you cut, calibrate your opals, put them into simple settings like this, and your potential customers go from thousands to millions.